Isn't Drew still, like, working for Portia with her hair?
I don't know that she works for Portia anymore.
Hey, hottie.
Hey.
Oh.
How are you? Well, hello.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Good girl.
Okay, so let's get some context. I want to clear this up, okay?
I'm not hanging with Ralph, okay? I didn't call him and ask him to come to dinner tonight. This is not tit for tat.
Disclaimer, I had no idea Portia was gonna be arriving. At all.
It's very important to always have a witness, because what I'm not gonna do is be the person that Ralph went off with when he disappeared. I'm not that girl. No, ma'am. And I know how this group is.
I'm just hungry.
Shamia, you're clicking. But you're clicking down. Welcome back to my channel. We're here this week with a not-so-new review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're doing season 16. Today we're doing episode 10. Yes, that's right. I said episode 10. Yes, I know episode 11 just aired. But guess what? This is going to be a double recap. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone. So baby, strap on and let's go. If you're new here, welcome. I'm giving a fully detailed review, scene by scene, and I'm throwing in my own little shade and commentary. It is what it is. This is an opinion video. Please subscribe, like the video, comment, and let's go. We start this episode off at Kelly's house, and she's with her daughters, and they're talking, and she's asking Chloe how was her day at school, and Chloe lets her know that she got 2 low B's and the rest were all A's, and for some reason, she's disappointed with that. So Kelly's like, why, girl? Like, why is you putting so much pressure on yourself? So Chloe's like, you know my dad, you know, he be on me. So we find out that Kelly is real close to Chloe's dad because as we found out a few episodes ago, Chloe has a different dad than the other daughters. The other daughters, their dad is her ex-husband, well, her estranged husband, the crazy one, you know, that she has to order protection from, that can't see the kids. And Chloe has a different father. So she tells us she's close with Chloe's father. She said it wasn't always like that, but now they're at a point where they're like brother and sister. And she was like, yeah, I know it's weird, but like he's like my best friend, which is cool. It's always good to have that relationship with the other parent of your child. And that's something I have. So I can attest to that, Kelly. So she tells us she's ready to move out of her townhouse. She needs more space. The townhouse ain't big enough. And she asks Chance what are her goals. And Chance tells her that she wants to be a chef. And mind you, the other daughter pipes in and says, if you ever notice, mommy can't really cook like that. So I'm like, Kelly, what? Let me find out all you know how to make is chicken and waffles, girl. Anyway, the next scene, we're over at Verdure. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Verdure, Verdure. That's the name of the restaurant that we see Shamia come in to link up with Mr. Ralph Pittman, honey. So they meeting up. So she says that they've worked together. They did a podcast together before. And so it's not unusual for them to be like meeting up to talk business. He's working on a new podcast and he just wants her advice and some pointers for her. So she agreed to meet up with him. And she says it's no mess, but at the end of the day, she does want the tea to find out what's going on. She want to know if Drew and Dennis are making hot dogs together. And I'm like, Shamia, there you go. You being nosy. You being nosy. This is why you're clicking, girl. This is why you're clicking. Stay out of it, sis. But this is Housewives, so we expect this from you, okay? So anyway, so now they get to talking about the podcast, and then she asked him, I forgot how Drew came up, but Drew came up somehow, and she was asking him about, you know, the situation, and he tells her, we find out that when Drew met Ralph, he proposed to her within 3 months of meeting her. And that by 5 months, they were married within 5 months of meeting each other. And she was pregnant at 8 months. So I was like, whoa, this was a shotgun wedding, honey. No, this was no, it wasn't a shotgun wedding. She got married after. But this was real fast. Y'all did all this in under a year. So no wonder why y'all not working out, honey. Because y'all don't even know each other. Y'all two complete strangers. A stranger in my house. It took a while to... All right, let me stop. Let me stop torturing y'all with my voice. So now he tells Shamia that he doesn't like who she's becoming. And Shamia's like, wow, or whatever. So they bring up the whole Portia and Dennis thing. He say how, that was like, he don't like that, how that's going down. And Shamia was like, yeah, I just think that it's kind of like disrespectful. Or I forgot the term that she used. But anyway, so he says that Dennis came to him and got his blessings, and he felt like that was a respectful thing to do. So Ralph, he's now asking what's up with Drew and Portia. Like, he's like, ain't she working with Portia with the go naked hair thing? And Shamia's like, well, I don't know about that. And just as he's asking Shamia that question about Portia, honey, none other than Miss Portia Williams Stewart Gubadia walked up in the building, honey. Yes, I was like, what is going on here? Girl, not Miss Don't Film With My Baby Daddy, but I'm a film with your husband. But girl, I get it. But Portia does explain that this wasn't her idea. She didn't set this up. She was invited by Shamia. Shamia explains how she just wanted Portia to come because she ain't wanted to be just her and Ralph meeting up one-on-one. She was like, you ain't gonna say Ralph was with me when he disappeared. And plus, I just want her there because it don't, she gonna be a third party, a witness, so it won't be just his word against her word. And she was like, because you know how this group get, honey. So yeah, I was like, all right, so this is how this all came up. But honestly, Shamia, this is messy of you. You're being real messy, girl. You're doing a lot. And this is why I say you're clicking. And you're clicking in the wrong direction, okay? So now they get the chatting or whatever. She's there filling Portia in on what they was talking about with the podcast. So now we see that the server is serving Ralph a drink and it's like smoking. So Portia's like, ooh, what's that? So Ralph lets them know it's a smoked old fashioned. So Portia orders her Henny on the rocks. Miss Portia, honey. So yeah, they talking. So now the waiter comes to take their orders for dinner. So Shamia was like, Ralph, now you said you taking care of the bed tonight, right? So basically, your treat, let's do it. So Portia orders the steak with green beans and yellow corn. Ralph orders fried plantains, and Shamia orders the snapper, but then she wants Brussels sprouts, but she's asking the waitress about the Brussels sprouts, and the Brussels sprouts is is asking her, would she like that as a side order or as an appetizer? So she's like, I'll take the appetizer. So here go Miss William Stewart Gubadia. She's like, I ain't know we was doing appetizers. Let me get that menu. She got that menu back. And she definitely was like, I'm going to take the fried octopus. And I was like, yes, Miss Williams.
You guys know what you want to order for dinner?
Ralph, you did say you're going to pay the bill tonight.
Let me do the steak, the green beans, and then yellow corn.
Let's do fried plantains.
I'll have the snapper. What about these Brussels sprouts, though?
You want it with your appetizer or you want it as your appetizer?
Oh, hold on, I know we were doing appetizers. Fried octopus.
It's really good.
I'll try that.
Damn, little lady. You sure know how to put it down.
Okay? If he's playing girl, you better get an appetizer, an entree, and you better catch dessert too, okay? So now they get the chat, and then Portia's telling Ralph about this text message where Dennis sent her saying how he told Drew he wasn't going to sleep with her, run me my money. So Ralph is like, what? Let me see that. So she go to show Ralph the text, but they don't actually show her showing it to him, and they don't show his reaction the way it's edited, which leads me to believe that that's not the text he read. He didn't read that. The same with Dennis. When she showed Dennis the text, and Dennis was like, whoa, no. You got this way out of context. You got it wrong, okay? So I believe they edited out Ralph's reaction, because when he looked at the text, he was like, this don't say that, girl. Portia, you keep trying to make that happen. It's never going to happen, okay? Never. So now we see that they asking him if he thinks something is going on because basically Portia and is putting it out there like Drew is out there in the streets busting it wide and open. And Ralph was like, for real, she really out there in the streets like that? So they asked him if he thinks something is going on. And he like, I don't know. And I think Shamia had asked him, they asked him if he thought that something was going on with Dennis and Drew. And he was like, nah, to be honest with you, I thought she was messing with somebody else or whatever. So they asked him, Portia brings up the comment about the college thing with Pilar saying how Drew claimed her royalties could pay for Pilar's college education, and she took offense to that. And Ralph was even offended, and he's like, well, she said that? That's mad disrespectful, y'all. Like, wow. He's like in shock that she would even say that. So Shamia was like trying to clear it up, saying, she said it kind of jokingly, but still, So now they asked him who filed first with him and Drew. And he says he filed first. He claims he filed first. And he said he filed because she cheated on him with Ty. Ty, the female basketball player that was Mimi's ex. And now she's running around on Basketball Wives with Ming Lee. Yes, that Ty that from last season when Drew did the movie with Candy. Her lead number in the movie, Drew was playing like having an affair on her husband. I saw the movie actually. She was having an affair on her husband with his best friend, who was a female. And I guess the girl who was playing the best friend in the movie was friends with Ty, and Ty was coming up to the set with her, and that's how her and Drew met and apparently had an affair according to Ralph. And they like, how you know she had an affair? She admitted that. And he was like, yeah, she admitted it. So they showed a flashback of Drew praising Ty, basically saying how she makes me feel good. She know how to talk to me. She give me everything I want. I mean, she didn't say I'm sleeping with her, but, she was definitely talking about how, like, she's doing everything for her. Ralph wasn't doing. So that was his proof, which to me it's not, like, case closed for me. So, yeah. So now they're asking Ralph if he ever cheated, and he claims he didn't. After a brief pause, he claims he didn't. Whatever. So now Shamia decides to bring up Angela being mad at her over the comment about the whole Portia sleeping with Charles thing. And I'm like, why are we talking about Angela? So she can't understand why Angela is mad at her, but she forgave Portia. So now Ralph is trying to end the dinner because I guess he's like, all right, this is gossip. This is some tea that I'm here to talk about Drew. Okay? Look, I came here to film this scene to bash Drew. Okay? I don't know Angela. So, yeah. So now Shamia's like, you ain't getting rid of us that easy, honey. We want dessert. Smart girl. So, yes, it was a cute little scene, but honestly, it was messy. Shamia, yeah, girl, no thank you. Anyway, the next scene we're at Angela's rental property in Riverside. And she's showing the place to Kelly. We see that Kelly bought some champagne, and she's trying to get on Angela's good side. She, after how Angela handled Brett at, where were they? At Cynthia's Bailey Q, she said she don't want no smoke, honey. Okay, she don't want Angela to read her like she did Brett. So now Angela's showing her the place and showing her around. Kelly notes that the ceilings are low, and we also see that there's no water in the pool. I'm like, Angela, girl, no water in the pool? Why'd you even show the pool then? And also, Angela isn't happy with the closet space, and she says she describes the place as being cozy, which in real estate, cozy means small. Okay? So yeah, so they get to sitting down and talking and chatting for a bit. So Angela asks Kelly what she thinks she knows about her marriage, because remember when she was going back and forth and Britt was like, but do the world know about that baby he had on the side? Kelly was on the side like, yeah, but do the world know about that baby though? So she want to know what you know, sis, like, because you had a lot to say at the Bailey Q. What's good? So Kelly basically don't know nothing. She going off of what she hearing in the streets. Oh, that pretty much. So Angela goes on to tell Kelly about the Wendy Williams story, which we found out that a long time ago, she ran into Wendy at a party that her and Charles was at. And this was around the time Wendy's husband cheated on her and had the baby on her. And she told Wendy is just a baby. Like, basically don't leave your husband. It's just a baby. And Wendy, I guess, went back on the show and said Angela said that to her, and how Angela admitted that Charles had a baby on her. But Angela cleared it up and says that it was actually her first baby father, who is Amari's father, that had a baby on her. Amari has a sibling that's like pretty much, I'm sorry, what do they call them again? Hood twins? Yeah, pretty much. He had another girl pregnant at the same time. So Amari has a sibling that they're the same age within months or whatever, a 6-month difference or something like that. So that's who she was referring to. But honey, Wendy ran with that and the lie prevailed. So Kelly asked her if Charles ever cheated on her, and she does admit that there were instances of infidelity. And, you know, it is what it is. So now they get to talking, and she tells Kelly about a conversation she had with Shamia, because, remind you, they brought up the whole Bailey Q when her and Shamia sat down, and Cynthia tried to get them to, like, make good, and Shamia felt like she didn't owe Angela an apology for laughing at the comment Portia made about sleeping with Charles, and, you know, pretty much Shamia thought she found it funny. So now they're talking, and she tells, Kelly, I thought we was getting close, me and Shamia. I thought we was, born in a friendship. So then she tells Kelly about a conversation she had with Shamia regarding Portia, and how Shamia feels like pretty much it's a lopsided friendship. She felt away when Portia didn't know it was her song, and how she's pretty much scared to say something to Portia. Angela said, she said to Shamia, you need to have this conversation with Portia. Why don't you talk to her? And Shamia pretty much is scared to have a conversation with her. So Kelly is just like, wow. And Kelly in her confessional was just singing, I think Angela need to mind her business or whatever. So pretty much that's what that scene wraps up. And now next scene is at the Edie residence. And we see Britt, and she's with Mike, and they're in the kitchen making breakfast. He's making them some bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. And he asked her, how many slices? And she said 4. I don't know if she was saying 4 slices of bacon or 4 slices of cheese, but I was like, ooh, that's a lot for one sandwich. I mean, usually when I make a bacon, egg, and cheese, I use 2 slices of bacon, but hey, to each his own. Maybe she loves bacon. But anyway, did you guys see Mike's dad bod? He had on like a white t-shirt, and he had like a big beer belly. He definitely has a dad bod. I was like, ugh, please get dressed. She said they like to walk around naked. Please cover that up, all right? So they get to talking about Angela, and she's basically telling him how Angela read her for filth. And, she felt it. So he then lets her know how he is meeting up with her sister Cher later. And she's like, wow, how did that come about? And he lets her know he reached out to Cher. Because as we found out from Britt when she met up with her sister in an earlier episode this season, Cher feels that ever since Britt got married to Mike, she kind of put her sisters on the back burner, and it's all about Mike. And she also feels like Mike is the reason behind that, where he be on Britt. Like, she feels like Britt has to answer to Mike. And as we saw in that episode when they were sitting down and talking, Mike was texting her, calling her to come home, knowing she was with her sister. So she's happy that he took the initiative to reach out to her sister to try to make things right. Next scene, we go back to Angela's rental property in Riverside, and we see that Miss Williams Stewart Gubadia is arriving for a game of tennis. Angela is already there with her daughter Amari. They're playing tennis. And Angela lets us know in the confessional, under no circumstances will I invite a woman who said she fucked my husband in my home. And you're a smart girl, Angela. You invite her to the rental property, not your home, okay? So they get to playing tennis. She introduces Amari to Portia, and Amari was very polite. She was like, hi, Miss Portia. I was like, all right, look at you being respectful of your elders. So they get to playing tennis. They have a good game. And after the game, Angela was like, yeah, Portia ain't think Big Bird could play. Big Bird could play. She was like, but Snuffleupagus, she can play too. I'm like, why is she calling Portia Snuffleupagus? And you know what? I wanted to know what Snuffleupagus looks like. So let's look it up right now. Snuffleupagus. Mr. Snuffle, a character on Sesame Street. Ooh, child, this is Mr. Snuffleupagus. Ooh, why would she call Portia that? Angela, I'm done with you. I can't. Because now that I see how they look, it's even funnier. You a mess, Angela. So now, Portia, so after they finish playing, they go sit down, and Portia's asking Angela, like, is that the dude that got married? Talk about Amari. And Angela's like, yeah, that's her. So pretty much, we find out that Amari actually got married to a female. And then she's a nice young lady or whatever. And she basically didn't tell Angela because she was rebelling to exert her adulthood. Okay, so now another thing I want to say about that is, Amari, so you're married, right? But yet you needed to borrow your grandmother's car. Let me know my business. Okay, and you live with your grandmother, but you're married. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Portia tells Angela about a Pampered by Portia event she has coming up, and she's letting her know that the invites are coming out and Angela will be receiving one. So now she continues to tell her about the meeting that she had with Shamia and Ralph. How she sat down with Ralph and Shamia. And Angela's gagging like, oh no, for real? Girl, so she proceeds to tell her the details of things. And also how she showed Ralph that fake text about Dennis and Portia, and Dennis saying how he won't sleep with her. And she claims, when she showed it to Dennis, actually, she claimed her reason for showing it to Dennis was so Dennis could see that they didn't have sex, because Dennis told her, run me my money. Anyway, girl, fetch. It's not gonna happen. So now Angela is just like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not doing this. So Angela is like, let me find out. I know Ralph. She's like, I know you ain't doing something strange for a little bit of change. Booty for beats. So Angela was like, see, this is why I don't mess with Portia like that. This is why I invited her to my thing, because Portia's messy as hell. And another thing is, I was always wondering, how come Angela never told Drew what Portia friends was singing about her that night in Nashville before she got there, when they was claiming she was sucking dick? How come she never told Drew that? Or did she and they just didn't show it? Because, yeah, I would have told my friend that, and I would have wanted my friend to tell me that. So, yes. So now Angela begins to tell Portia about the conversation she had with Shamia, and how Shamia basically felt away about the song. It was something about feeling a way about Portia not going to her wedding. And she also feels like Shamia feels like the friendship is lopsided and she can't really talk to Portia. So as she's saying that, Portia puts her little fan over her face and she's crying, so-called crying. So she leaves and that's that. And I'm just like, girl, that hurt you that bad? Anyway, next scene, we're at Drew's house. It looked like she's giving her son some breakfast from IHOP or the Waffle House or something, because I see it's pancakes and eggs and sausage, I think it is. But it's like she put it on a plate. You could tell it was from the Waffle House somewhere, because she had the little syrup in the cup. Like, you know the little cup that they give you an IHOP, the to-go syrup at the Waffle House? So I was like, girl, why you got it on a plate like you made it? That's from the Waffle House, girl. That's IHOP. Okay? So the person behind the camera asked Drew if the kids know about the divorce, if they told the kids about the divorce, and she says that they're not allowed to tell the kids about the divorce. It's a part of the documents in the sealed file. So now she has a Zoom with her life coach, Dr. Ken, who was her and Ralph's marriage counselor, but now he's just her life coach. And she's telling him about the drama going on with her, and she tells her how Angela told her, because Angela apparently called Drew and let her know what Portia told her about the meetup with Ralph. So Drew's telling Dr. Ken about that, and he's telling her, like, you know, he's giving her some words of encouragement and telling her, when you walk in the room, you're no longer anybody's victim. Okay? Stand in your truth, girl. That's what you need to do, Drew, and stop lying so much. So yeah, so she's talking with him. So he gave her some words of encouragement. So now we finally get to the Pamper by Portia event. And once again, I'm going to say rest in peace to Londi. Every time I see her, I'll be like, oh my gosh, Londi. And why haven't they put up a In Love and Memory up on none of the episodes yet? She's been on like 3 episodes. Come on, show this lady some respect. So now we see Britt and Kelly is en route to the event. And Angela happens to arrive first. So as she's arriving, we see Britt and Kelly on their way still, and Britt is telling Kelly about Mike meeting up with Cher and how, you know, she's excited and happy for that, and Cher's happy for her. So now we see Drew arrives at the event. You're not late this time, Drew, because she's been late all season. I'm like, all right, Drew, you on time today. Good girl. So now we see Kelly and Britt finally arrive. And mind you, there was some guy who was serving them the drinks at the door. He was fine, honey. He was being real flirtatious. I was like, he was fine. Anyway, so now we see that they were serving some buttermilk chicken sliders and mini lobster rolls. Yes, please. I'll take 3 each. And lo and behold, Miss Cynthia Bailey was right there by the food, because she would have been right by me. Right by the food, honey. Okay? So Shamia arrives. And after that, we see Portia comes to greet the ladies, and then they do an impromptu photo shoot because it looked like the photographer had somewhere to be, because he was talking to Portia, and Portia was like, oh, we got to hurry up. It looked like he was telling her, girl, time is money, and I got to make it to my next venue, okay? So they did their little photo shoot. It was cute. They all looked sexy. They all looked beautiful. Everybody looked beautiful. So Drew wants to know, she's throwing shade in her green screen, and she's like, is this a promo for Pamper by Portia? She was like, because last I checked, my contract was terminated with Go Naked Hair. I didn't get a contract for Pamper by Portia, like, okay? Like, and let's not make no mistake. When I was influencer for Go Naked Hair, honey, them sales was up. I was like, all right, Drew. So now, as they all sitting around chilling, Kelly wants to fill Shamia in on what Angela told her about how she relayed to Kelly how she had the conversation with Shamia, and Shamia expressed how she felt about Portia and her friendship. So now they want to do a meditation. Lauren, Portia's sister, is leading the meditation. So they lay down and she tells them, you know, they're laying on a Pamper by Portia sheets. They got some comforters, and she tells them that they can lay back, and they're doing like the bell thing, that gong thing, or whatever you want to call it. And she says, like, you know, if you feel comfortable and feel safe, you can lay back. So they all lay back except for Shamia. So in the middle of the meditation, Kelly gets up to go sit over there with Shamia in her bed, because Shamia's sitting up, and she asked Shamia, like, what's up? Like, why you the only one, like, not laying down? And Shamia was like, I don't feel safe. They said, if you feel safe, I don't feel like this is a safe space for me. So then she's letting, you know, Kelly know how she feel away at the fact that Portia had a conversation with Angela about their friendship. She feels like she's never going to talk about her friendship with Portia with any other person besides Portia. So she don't understand why Portia would do it. So as they're talking, Portia's getting up and like shushing them. She's like, shh, shh. And I'm like, this is a mess. So Kelly's pretty much telling Shamia, like, pretty much Angela told Portia everything that you told her, pretty much. So now Lauren is giving them the opportunity to have a sister circle so they can address anybody they want to address. So first, Angela addresses Portia and tells her, like, you know, I'm happy that we sat down and talked the other day, and I see the beginning of a friendship, and, you know, I hope you can receive me. And Portia receives it. So now Kelly speaks up, and she wants Portia and Shamia to have a conversation because she feels like the group feels like Shamia can't shine because of Portia, and Shamia's in Portia's shadow. So now Portia... Lauren asks Portia how she feels about that, and Portia basically mentions the conversation that she had with Angela, and she feels like, based on what Angela told her, it was giving her, Shamia was basically making her out to be the bad friend, and it made her feel like shit. So now they start to go back and forth, and Shamia's like, if I ever had a conversation about you, it was with you. I never went to nobody, and nobody could ever come to me about you because I will shut it down. And they're like, yeah, that's true. You do shut it down. And Angela's like, well, I think, Shamia, that you need to speak up, and I think you're scared. You need to speak up and let her know how you feel. So, yeah, basically they're going back and forth, and Portia's like feels away. Shamia is not really speaking her mind. And Cynthia pipes in and she was like, oh, I hate to see this when friends come on the show and, lose a friendship. And so, yeah, they both kind of work up. And now Lauren's asking Shamia, we want to hear you, Shamia. Let us hear you. And Shamia's like, you know what? I've always been one to, like, give grace. And Portia was like, thank you for your grace, sarcastically. And that set Shamia off. So pretty much the episode ended with pretty much them mad at each other. And Portia basically saying how Shamia is going behind her back. The whole thing about the wedding came up and why Portia didn't come to the wedding. And Portia said she didn't go to the wedding because at the time they weren't speaking. And Shamia was like, what? That's not what you told me. This is new to me. So I'm like, girl, I thought you ain't go, Portia, I thought you ain't go to the wedding because you ain't want to fly a coach. But but they had the wedding in Kenya. You didn't go there, but you did go to the wedding, the ceremony they had in Atlanta. It wasn't the actual wedding, but it was a ceremony. But being that was your best friend, Portia, I don't understand why you didn't go to the wedding in Kenya. But like you said, y'all wasn't speaking at the time, so if y'all had a fallout, it probably would have been awkward. We'll never know the real reason because Shamia was shocked at that. This was her first time ever hearing this. So, girl, this friendship is we're starting to see the cracks. We've been seeing them, but they're really starting to expose themselves now. I also saw Watch What Happens Live, and we saw Shamia confirm that her and Portia are not so close anymore. She pretty much said, as far as she's concerned, the door is closed, but she's not trying to fix anything. And it's not even a break. It's over, pretty much, as far as she's concerned. She said she's done enough and she ain't doing no more. She seems to have gotten the message, and we can tell she's emotional. By the way, Shamia, I did love your little T-Boss hairstyle, a little mushroom haircut with the sideburns. That was real cute on you, girl. And she also expressed how she couldn't understand why Angela forgave Portia, but not her. On the after show, Shamia she was shading Angela because Kelly was talking, and as she was talking, her earring fell off. So Kelly was like, oh, I'm falling apart. My earrings is falling off. Shamia was like, well, good thing it ain't your nose falling off or your wig falling off. Basically throwing a shot at Angela. Leave that girl alone, Shamia. And Angela says that Kelly and her had a conversation, I guess, and Kelly said to her, I guess when they had the conversation at the rental property, and Kelly said to her, oh, you going to end up like me. And Angela was like, she don't see how that's possible. Because basically, Kelly, like, you have an order of protection against your man. Like, me and Charles ain't nowhere near that. And she also lets Cynthia and Drew know that her and Charles are best friends. That's her best friend. And she also tells them and addresses the baby rumors and tells them the whole Wendy Williams story as well. So, yes, I did enjoy this episode. It was a nice episode. It was okay. From 1 to 5, I'm going to be honest. From 1 to 5, I would say it was a 3. It was an average episode. It was good. It was a pretty good episode. Not too much happened, but, it was alright. It was cute. Let me know what you think about this episode. Once again, please leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in a minute with my episode 12 review. Yeah, episode 12.
Us, right? There are other components. Like she shared with me that even my mom don't really know, like, how to accept you because of the history with our parents. So I just feel like it's hard to be your friend because she's always like, be careful around her, and you can't trust her, and the apple don't fall from her tree. And
hey
I'm
guys,
like,
welcome back. I hope you guys are ready because we're about to jump right into the recap for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. We're now doing episode 11. This episode starts off with Angela and Charles Oakley on a date. I guess doing a date night, and they're having like a little rooftop date. So they get there, they arrive. And Angela orders an apple martini and some steak tacos, some chicken stock tacos, also some steak tacos. And Charles orders a Stella Beer. So they start to talk. They're talking about he got a game coming up. And we find out that he's the coach of a team called the Killer Threes in the Big Three League of basketball. He also owns multiple car washes in New York City. And Angela made it her business to let us know that he's also retired, but he earns pension, okay? So basically, she said he gets to the bag. He's about the coin like she is. So they're talking and they're having a little banter. But am I the only one who can't help but notice? But Charles I don't know. She says that that's their love language. And he was looking at her like, huh? No, it's not. I don't know. It just gives, maybe they have their own thing, but it just comes across like doesn't like her too much. He just seems cranky all the time and like annoyed with her. So anyway, they get to talking, and in the confessional, the person behind the camera asks him, does he love her, his wife? And he didn't even answer the question. Like, he was like, next question. And Angela was like, she's trying to give you an out. And he's like, I don't need an out. So now, also, she asked him why they on a rooftop. She asked him for a kiss. And he's hesitant to give her a kiss. He gives her the kiss, but he's like, why do you want to kiss for? What you want to kiss for? So it's just really awkward between these two. I don't know if that's just them and their relationship, but on camera it comes off as she's a lot more into him than he is into her. So if she comes back, I wouldn't be surprised if they'll be getting a divorce season 17 or 18. So they start to talk about her and her issues she having with her mom and her sister over the whole Amari situation with the car, and how the aunt jumped in Amari's face and the grandma called Amari like a devil or something like that, a demon child. So Charles is basically telling her, like, you need to leave your family alone and keep your distance and let them go through what they're going through and learn how to love from a distance. And she finds that hard to do. She does plan on planning a date to hang out with her mom so they could talk and get some things off of their chest. Because, you know, she still has some unresolved issues. And Charles is telling her, like, listen, I'm going to stay over here. I keep my distance. And that's how I keep my peace. So now we see Miss Cynthia Bailey arriving at Misconduct. And Cynthia, this wig looks good. This is the first wig I saw this season. And I was like, all right, this wig right here. Let's go. All right, this right here. Let's stick with a wig like this. It was curly. It was a real curly type. It looked good, Cynthia. Okay? So now she orders the house margarita. She tells the waitress to make it strong. So Shamia arrives. And her and Shamia greet each other. And they get to talking and catching up, small talk. So then they start to discuss what happened at the Pampered by Portia event, which was at the end of last episode when Shamia and Portia kind of got into it and was going back and forth. So Shamia basically, you know, was letting Cynthia know she felt taken aback because she was surprised Portia was talking to other people about their friendship and not her, because that's not how she moves. She don't talk to other people about their friendship, but yet you talk to Angela about it, and they show a flashback of you talking to Britt and Angela about it as well. So, So now Shamia tells her that before she came to the event, she had called her mom, and she told her mom she just don't feel safe, and asked her mom to pray for her. And her mom prayed for her right there on the phone. A bit much, but, you know, if she did, that's how she felt, then she needed that support. So they're talking, and she's letting Cynthia know that pretty much all of the ladies have questioned her and Portia's friendship, and they all feel like she's more loyal to Portia than Portia is to her, and Portia basically, like, walks all over her pretty much. She's pretty much Portia's lapdog. So she says that she downplays it or whatever, but sometimes, you know, things do hurt, you know, but she don't feel like that's something she want to talk to the ladies about. That's something she'll talk to Portia about. And Cynthia, she can relate. She says it reminds her of situations she's had with other people on the cast, basically meaning Nene. And basically, she tells us, that this is reminding her of how Nina used to go back and forth, and it's weird because you could be best friends with somebody and talking to them all the time, and then boom, all of a sudden, one season come and y'all in the friend group and you and her not even rocking with each other like that. So it's just weird. So she can, relate to what Shamia's going through. And she basically, once again, like she said at the Pamper by Portia event, she hate when the circle breaks up friendships. You know what I'm saying? So Shamia also says that it was more factors involved. So basically, that's when we find out that Shamia and Portia's moms were friends, and that's how Shamia and Portia became friends. Shamia says she met Auntie Diane when she was 13 years old. They show pictures of both of their moms hanging out, looking like Portia and Shamia, right? So she explains to Cynthia how since the moms fell out, Portia told her that Miss Diane be telling Portia, like, she shouldn't trust Shamia and all that because the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So apparently something happened between them. And based on what I saw online, because Portia, before I even saw the episode, I knew that Shamia had discussed Portia's mom on this episode. Because Portia was online with this post ranting about keep my mother name out your mouth, whatever. And it was just like, oh, wow, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And basically, Portia had alluded to the fact that they're not friends anymore because what Shamia's mom did to Portia's mom was so egregious. So I'm like, what she did to that mother? What is going on? All right, now I want to know the tea, girl. So she's telling Cynthia that basically she feels like Miss Diane be in Portia's ear, and that's a factor too. So if this is what made Portia post that and made her so mad, I'm really like, what really did she say about your mom that was bad? She pretty much told the truth. She said, y'all moms used to be friends and y'all stopped being friends. And the camera person asked her why. And she was like, I don't want to get into all that. So she obviously didn't want to discuss it. So I'm trying to figure out what line did Shamia cross. Anyway, I see as they was talking, the server was bringing them out some food. I couldn't really make out what Cynthia had on her plate, but Shamia has some chicken rasta pasta. And baby, it looked scrumptious. I'm going to keep it real short. I rewinded it like 3 times, mainly because I was trying to see what was on Cynthia's plate. But baby, the way my mouth was watering when I was looking at that chicken rasta pasta. The next scene, it was like a quick triple collage. We see Kelly, she's at her Nana's Chicken and Waffles with her chef, and they, chefing it up and doing whatever they do. And we also see Britt, she's home with Mike, and she's showing him some outfits. And she's basically letting us know how they got invited. One of their friends is having a wedding, and they promised that they would come, so they're gonna go show up to the wedding. And then we also at the same time, we see Shamia. She's in the studio with her sisters and one of her friends. They're talking about her album and what her career, whatever her project she's working on. And then she's also letting them know, like, the trouble she's having in this friendship with Portia. And the sisters is like, they saw it coming. So next, we see Angela and Cynthia arriving at Bolero to go do some bowling. They both look good, okay? I meant to say Angela too. All episode, her wig's been all right up until a little later. But for right now, when she was with Charles, she was on, hair looked good. This scene, hair looked good. Cynthia, it didn't look as good as the last wig, but you look good overall. Portia, of course, came in to meet them in her little jumpsuit looking scrumptious, okay? So they get to bowling. And Cynthia, after they finish bowling, Cynthia asks Portia about PJ. Like, how's PJ? So Portia, she's saying how she can tell there's a change coming with PJ and just a lot happening. And then she goes and regurgitates the story about PJ asking about Simon. I think she said she calls him Papa. And how she had to explain that he was at work, and how she texted him to tell him that Pilar asked about him and he left her on red. I'm confused too because y'all didn't even know each other that long, and Pilar was already calling him Papa, like, And I get it, but I feel like the relationship didn't last that long and you already had her around this man calling her Papa, and look, that just goes to show you that you need to make better choices and take your time, Miss William Stewart Gubadia. But who am I to judge? My track record is ain't much better than yours, so girl. But anyway, so now they get to talking and they talk about Shamia and the whole Pampered by Portia event, how what happened went down. Portia basically doesn't like being portrayed as the bad friend. She feel like she's being portrayed as the bad friend, and Shamia is the super loyal friend, and she doesn't like that. And it's a few things she's not feeling, and she's going through a lot right now, so she really don't need this. She's basically saying she doesn't have the bandwidth to, like, break up with Shamia right now. She loves Shamia at the end of the day, and she not trying to do this. And, you know, y'all were friends a long time, so. But, Portia, you need to address some of the things and hear where she's coming from. We're going to get to that. So next up, we see Drew. She's in a car, and she's on FaceTime with her mom, and she lets us know her and her mom are, like, super close. Her mom is, like, super tech-savvy, like a millennial. She has all these devices. She be online. Mama got a social life out there, okay? So she's letting her mom know. They're talking, and mom's asking her what's going on with the procedure, and mom is ready for this to just be over with, okay? And she's letting mom know now how Ralph is trying to have her lawyer recused because I found out online from someone else. I can't remember her name right now. I would give her the credit for it. I will look for it and put it in the description. But I remember they opened up the court documents, and when she met Ralph, supposedly I guess she was his artist, and they signed a LLC where he would get 40% of that LLC. And that's the contract they have. So she wanted to get out of that. So she went and started another LLC and was putting her money into that. And now he's basically went the lawyer recused because he's saying, you know, basically that was dirty, that was nasty work. She shouldn't have done that. And he basically wants 40% of the new LLC. He feel like that's a piece of his too. So I was like, oh, Ralph is trying to go for the jugular, child. So not only does he want 40% of her new LLC, she lets her mother know that Ralph changed the codes on the locks at home, and she came home one night. It was like 1 a.m, and she was locked out, and she could not get in. She said she had to go to a hotel, and then I guess the next morning, he came home and I guess magically got in and went in the basement, and then he came out and let her in. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, honestly, you never know what's going on with them Pittmans, because if you ask me, you can't believe a thing neither one of them say. She's a liar and he's a sleazeball. So they were made for each other. So she is claiming that she supports the kids on her own and he doesn't give child support. Her and her mom is discussing this. The mom is pissed. She's over it. She like, why is he doing this to you? Why he's trying to bleed you dry? He don't do nothing for you with the kids and all this. And I'm like, according to Ralph, he does everything. He pays all the bills. So I guess maybe he feels like if he pays all the bills, she can handle everything that got to do with the kids. So we'll see about that. I do know when they did when they opened the documents, the court documents, according to the documents, Ralph has an income of $200,000 per year, roughly. And I see that he did file, like, his financial paperwork and all that. From what I understand, I didn't see the documents myself. I was just listening to someone else on YouTube who had read it and was giving us the tea. And pretty much Drew makes roughly around $400,000 per year, but it's not every year because she's not always working. She's not always filming. She's not always acting. She doesn't always have work. And we also even found out, not on the show, but this channel I was watching, she said that Drew, when she wasn't working, like when Housewives took their little hiatus, because remember after season 15 they took a little break while they was recasting and trying to see what they was going to do for season 16. Drew was collecting unemployment from what I understand. So I don't know what's going on, okay? Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't, okay? And court documents don't either. So now we go over to the Oakley residence. And Angela's finally meeting up with her mom. Her mom arrives and they get to talking and, greet, hey. So the mom informs Angela that she's going to be moving out of the house that Angela bought her and getting her own house. And Angela kind of feels a way about that. And the mom is pretty much like, listen, we want to be on our own. We want to be more self-sufficient. And also, you got a lot on your plate, so we want you to have one less burden. You know what I'm saying? And Angela, she understands it. She respects it. It's kind of hard because she wants to be there to take care of her mom, but at the same time, it is a burden off her back. So, yay. So now they get to talking about the whole Amari situation. And for some reason, as they was talking, Angela was saying the sister's name, but they was bleeping it out. And I remember in an earlier episode when she was sitting with the daughter in the coffee shop and the daughter first told her about the situation, she said the sister name because she was like, when I see such and such, she is not getting away with this. But now I guess since then, the sister must have gave her a phone call or sent a message from the mother telling her, keep my name out your mouth. She probably didn't sign a release to have her name spoke on the show. Don't talk about me on the show. And I'm not coming to record. And also when they were showing pictures, the sister's picture was blurred out. I was like, what in the Oakley shade tree is going on? What in the oak tree? But yeah, so I don't know what that's about, but they was blurring out the sister name. So they was talking about the sister and the situation with Amari. And Angela is saying basically Angela and the sister is not speaking. And I'm just like, wow, that's some drama right there. So now Angela asks her mom about what happened between her and Charles, because the mom and Charles haven't been speaking because they had a fallout. Angela claims it was about cleaning the house. So mom goes on to tell Angela how Charles came to her complaining about Angela saying, your daughter need to clean up more. And she said she went off on him like, you talk about my daughter, and she cursed him out. So basically, they haven't spoken for 3 years for that. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to write him a letter and apologize to him. She was like, because I love him. That's my son-in-law. I mean, even though we're the same age, I thought it was shade. And I was like, Angela, that's where you get your shade from your mother. Because your mother was giving it. She was, even when she said it, you could tell she was being sarcastic. She was like, you know what? I think I'm going to write him a letter and apologize to him. I was like, look at you. But yeah, that was cute. And we just found out that Angela's mom passed away because she said it online. So that's sad. And we didn't even see it in Love and Memory of at the end of the episode. They didn't do one for Lonzy. Or maybe they did because I see it on Peacock. But I don't know. I didn't see one. But yeah, rest in peace, Angela. My condolences to you and your family for your loss. Your mom looked like she was a joy. So next we go to Kelly, and she's giving Chloe a driving lesson. And they have Cha-Cha with them, her ugly-ass dog. And I only say that because of all the colors. When you saw the before picture of the dog was cuter before Kelly did all that to her. So anyway, the driving lesson is going bad. Kelly is almost about to have a heart attack with Chloe. And they get to talking, and Chloe tells her she wants her first car to be a BMW. And Kelly is basically saying, no, I think you better off with a Honda Passaic or whatever she said, the kind of car she had for her first car. And then the daughter, she was like, a BMW is expensive. And the daughter was like, you got money, you can afford it. And Kelly was like, baby, that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I can afford it. I'm going to buy you the car, baby. But you on your own. Once I buy it, you have to maintain it on your own. Buy gas, get it fixed. That's all on you. So then we find out that Chloe plans on working at the restaurant with Kelly, because Kelly is planning on working on getting her location open in Sandy Springs. She said it's hard because prices went up and she's having some issues, but she's trying to get there because it's very important to her. And her daughter's going to be a part of that. So I guess that's how she's going to make money to maintain her BMW. Next, we go over to Drew's house. And I noticed as they was going into the scene, they was playing her song, You Must Be Delusional. You miss me, Zalulu, Zalulu. Yes, okay. I was like, that's true. Look at them playing your song on episode. And by the way, Drew, I heard the album. I listened to it like 5 times so far. Love it. Very cute, Drew. Very cute. All right, so now she's having a drink with her mom. And we find out that the divorce process has been going on for 2 years, because that is true, because the last time Housewives was on was in like 2023. That was season 15. And then they took like a year off, damn near. And then they started filming again last year in 2024. So yeah, so they've been going through this for 2 years. And, you know, the mom is ready to get it over with. Like, it needs to be over with. So Drew gonna say she feels like that they're co-parenting better than they did as a married couple, and that's the only like positive thing. And she was like, is he trying to kill me in court and all that? Yeah. So the mom was like, you know, conflicted with that and perplexed about that, because she was like, I don't understand how you can sit there and say all that when he's doing all this to you in court. You're supposed to be the mother of his kids, and he's basically trying to bleed you dry. Like, what? It's not making sense. And also, the mother feels like the living situation is bogus. Like, why is he in the basement? Like, did they even think about the kids in the situation? So they talking about the kids, and the mom tells Drew, like, she feels like the kids are out of control. They don't listen. And they do show flashbacks of the kids basically not listening to Drew and being kind of like bad. So that made Drew emotional to hear that her kids have changed and they're not listening. So she had to walk away for a minute. She is an actress, so... But I can only imagine and believe that really did hurt her to hear her mom tell her, like, girl, your kids are not listening, and basically it's because they're affected by this divorce you're going through. So that was that. So then she got herself together, and, you know, her and her mom got back on happy terms. So now, for the final scene, Shamia is meeting up with Portia at Rock South Cuisine. As they're sitting down, Miss Diane is FaceTiming Portia, and Portia's like, I gotta call you back. So then when she hang up, Miss Diane, she's saying, I guess Miss Diane made a face like, so you can see Shamia caught that. Shamia clocked it like, oh, that was your mother. She was like, yeah. You made a face. She made a face. Oh, because you know you're meeting up with me. Ah, okay. So now they start to discuss Portia's event, you know, and how they was going back and forth. Shamia basically, her point for meeting up today is she says she wants to be heard. She wants Portia to hear her. So they're talking, and she's letting Portia know how she feel like when she's talking sometimes she feels dismissed. And also, you know, she doesn't appreciate how Portia's talking to people about the friendship. And Portia is like, well, you was already talking about the friendship with Angela. So basically, as she's talking, Portia is like kind of like rolling her eyes and acting like she's exasperated. Like, so Shamia was like, you tired? I'm boring you or whatever? Like, and Portia's like, no, whatever. So, you know, Shamia's like, so why you doing all that as I'm talking? You know, if I did that, I'm sure you wouldn't like that. So they're talking, and then Shamia basically brings up the Miss Diane thing, saying, you know, and then you told me your mother told you this about me, so, you know, it makes me feel a way or whatever. So now Portia's like, well, what you want me to do? Like, that's what she told me. Like, that's what she said. Like, I can't do nothing about that. So Shamia's saying to Portia how she wants her to be the way she is on camera, the same way she is off camera. She like, why can't we be the way we are off camera, on camera? And Portia's like, so she says that basically she was like, Portia, when I told you that, you was like, oh, they're going to have to pay me more money for that. So you mean we have to get more money to see your truth, your real you? So, yeah, so basically they're going back and forth, and Portia, Shamia is basically keep saying, Portia, I want you to be the same way you is off camera, show up to that, and be that same person on camera. And Portia's like, yo, that's crazy how this show, you know, is making you question whatever, this and that. So, and Shamia's like, I think it's crazy that you won't, you know, be the way you are on camera, off camera, on camera, sorry. So as they was talking, the lady was bringing out the food, and no shade, but the food looked delicious. They had some wings, it looked like some honey wings or sticky wings or something, mac and cheese, collard greens. I was like, ooh, this food look good. But let's eat first, and then we can talk after. So Shamia is basically like saying she wants to be heard. She doesn't want to feel dismissed, and you know. As she's speaking her piece, Portia is like saying she wants her to stop. Like, please just stop, Shamia. Just stop. I don't want to do this. So they stopped talking for a minute. So now Portia's ordering her food, getting her food to go. She's asking to get her food to go. And Shamia is like, you know, I'm sorry that we didn't get to fix this or make a resolution and you're leaving. And Portia was like, you know, we wasn't talking, so I figured it was time to go. And Shamia like, well, we stopped talking because as I was trying to talk to you, you was like, please stop, and started crying. So I stopped talking. And she was like, I want to be able to, you know, get my point off. I want to fix this. You know, she doesn't want this to linger. So as she's talking to Portia, Portia's like moving the silverware around and stuff on the table. And Shamia just stops. So then Portia goes, okay, what do you want me to do? What can I do to make things better? And Shamia reiterates, you know, I want to be heard. I don't want to feel dismissed. I want to feel like this friendship is equal. Portia's like, all right, I got it. Check. And then Portia's like, I don't want to break up with you, Shamia. I love you. And Shamia's like, I love you too. So they get up and they hug. And that's the end of the episode. Was it real? It looks like it wasn't, because nowadays, currently today, it appears that they're not as cool as they are. But then I heard also they was on social. I heard at the photo shoot that they was chummy, but maybe they were being just professional. Who knows? Maybe this can all just be an act to help Portia along with her storyline. Who knows? But anyway, I was kind of bored with it. This episode was kind of a boring one. I'm not gonna lie, it was boring. The only scene I really enjoyed was the Samia and Cynthia scene when she was telling us the tea about the moms. That was like the best scene for me. But other than that, yeah, this episode from 1 to 5, I'm gonna give it a 2 because it was boring. It wasn't horrible, but it was boring. So we see in the preview, next episode, Miss Phaedra Parks is coming back. So we're gonna see what happens next episode, y'all. But let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Do y'all think this whole Shamia and Portia thing is real? And how do y'all feel? Are you team Portia or team Shamia? Who's your favorite cast member? Let me know down in the comments. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.